Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. In today's exciting episode, I show you everything that I made in August 2024. There are 2 dresses, but mostly it's just jackets. I did a few cotton reversible ones, and then there are the tweed ones that I beaded. Well, partially beaded. I'm getting there. Eventually. Anyway, let's take a look at everything. Oh, and there's the gold faux leather jacket with all that beading. Oh, that's incredible. It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket. And there's the vintage look handbag. Gosh, I'm forgetful. Anyway, here's the rack. There's the handbag. Let's start with one of the cotton reversible jackets. I made 2 of them. This is the second one I made actually, but it's the pattern I like the most, Berta 6123. And I've made this in tweed before, the rainbow tweed with the white sequins on it. Absolutely gorgeous. In Sound of Music, Maria wears a brown jacket that it's cut quite like this. It has a similar silhouette, but she also wears an aqua sort of pastel-y dress. And so, yeah, in my mind, this is the Maria from Sound of Music jacket. And I'll show you the second side in a while. But I love this fabric. I'm thinking of buying more of it to make like a 1.5 yards of it to make a Chanel style jacket, because it's got these seed pods on it. The print on it is these seed pods and they look like ladybugs, and I just love it. And I've got some aqua sequins. Oh, this is me showing you the back. When I made the episode of step by step how to make this jacket, I traced it out, and I traced it this back piece without a seam allowance because I was going to cut it on the fold, but I only had 1 yard of the fabric, like not enough because of the awkward shape of the pieces. I could cut out 2 fronts and 2 backs, but I had to cut them each half. I couldn't cut it on the fold because they're just such awkward shapes. Anyway, so I forgot to add back the seam allowance. And this is me saying I might also buy another 1.5 yards to make a Chanel style jacket out of this one, because the yellow flowers on it are just so interesting. And if I had more, I have a few left over. Well, I'm going to have a few left over of those ones I'm using on the Cactus flower jacket, those yellow sequins, and I could do like collar and cuffed style beading on that maybe. I don't know. I already have so many fabrics to make jackets out of. Yeah, I probably won't, but it would be nice. Maybe I'll just if I use up 20 more jacket fabrics this year, then I can start buying stuff again. But I've decided I'm just not going to buy stuff for a while because, I'm doing a sort of spring clean KonMariing everything, and this is me showing you what they look like on a dress. And I don't think they look particularly flattering. I tend to wear all my jackets just with t-shirt and jeans, but a lot of you ask what they look like with dresses, so this is me showing you. So anyway, I did go back and add the seam allowance. I ended up taking it out of that video though, because it's supposed to be a jacket for beginners, and I think it's explaining how to add seam allowance in once you've forgotten to put seam allowance is, I think, needlessly confusing to people who probably wouldn't make that mistake anyway. So like they wouldn't have altered the pattern in the first place. They would have just done it with the seam allowance and not forgotten. So anyway, and this is the dress. Like I think the last episode I did was me showing you how I did the bodice for this dress and sewing them together. So you've already recently seen this dress, but it's just so pretty. I think in that episode, I told you that I was choosing between several different green sashes. So now I put the bright green thin one on, the thick pastel-y green one on, and now I'm finally looking past the dress to show you the red key jacket. So I think last time you saw it, I redid the collar to make the neckline deeper, and then I hand stitched those keys on. Oh my goodness, they look so simple. They almost look like they've always been there, but gosh, they are so difficult to do. I'm incredibly proud of myself for doing that. Anyway, so, and this is what the jacket looked like last time you saw it. There was in this episode here where I was just obsessed with all these bits of, yes, I'm definitely going to use up all the leftover scraps to make a strip for a different layer cake dress. I think I'll have like a rainbow layer cake dress. Once I've made one of each colour, then anything left over, I'll make a separate skirt or dress out of all of those and just use up everything in one. Anyway, back to the jacket. So made the tweed jacket, stitched on all the keys, and the only thing left was to do the map on the back. A few people said they'd rather it without the map. Like, you don't have to look at the back of my jacket, but the whole point of it is it's the right of return, and these people carry the keys to their houses that they were displaced from. So the map is part of a whole, and when I posted it over on Instagram, I put in some other photos, so you can go see that if you want. But anyway, so I traced out the outline and then I cut the center part out, and I pinned the tissue paper to the back, measuring where the top was, where the bottom was. And then I started filling in. You sort of do every second bead instead of every bead. And then you go back and you do every second bead. And it's a really slow process. But, you know, how else are you going to get the beading done except by one bead at a time? And this is me just, so I've done all the big beads at this point, but I still had to get some little red seed beads and fill in between. So I'm just checking if I like the look of it and I think it's balanced enough weight-wise, or whether I need to add more glass ones. So anyway, then I got out the seed beads, those little ones, and poured some of them out. Great action sequence there. And then I started adding the seed beads, and you can sort of see the trail goes up a little bit, and then there's one flower in the middle. I'm not sure about that one, but I do love, there's two different types of larger beads. One looks like strawberries with seeds, and the other bead is in is a darker red, and it's got a strawberry shape. And I'm really happy that I included those ones. They look beautiful. I wasn't sure because it's a relatively small map, and I was like, are these too big? And there's a dramatic reveal there where I take away the tissue paper. Sometimes you have to sort of tear away the tissue paper as you go, but this one I was able to keep it whole, so I'm going to be able to use it on something else. But yeah, so there we go. I think if I have my time again, I'm not sure. Like, there's a lot of coral and red in this tweed, and because the beading is red also, it's a little, I don't know, but I don't know. I still like it. And this is me looking at all those fabrics piled up on the sideboard there are ones that I want to make jackets out of. Ridiculous. And then, after I'd finished that jacket, I was like, well, I still have the sleeves to do, but I was in the mood for beading. So I was like, I could do the cactus jacket or the butterfly jacket, but they're both quite detailed. And then I was like, okay, I'll do this cactus flower one, which is, it's difficult in a different way. The cactus jacket, the olive khaki coloured one, and the butterfly one, you need to use a beading needle, which is a really fine needle. And it's annoying having to thread them all because they're so thin, and you're using 2 bits of thread to make it stronger, so it's always a struggle. But this one here, you get to use a slightly thicker needle, and it doesn't bend or anything like that, but you need to use a really long bit of thread. And this is me just showing you it all. At this point, I had to remove the bits from one calf because the spacing wasn't correct. And then I had to finish the first sleeve, the whole of the first sleeve, do a bit on the top and the back, And then this is me admiring the flowers. Do the whole of the second sleeve. I haven't done that much more. I think this is the last bit of the footage, and then I did 2 more rows. I'll show you it later, but I haven't really done a whole lot more to it. Anyway, so I still have, long story short, I still haven't done the shoulders on this one here. I just have to unpick them, but unpicking tweed, you have to be in the mood to be incredibly patient, because tweed is really loosely woven. Oh, and this is me pointing out, I have more keys, so not enough to do this on a different tweed. Like I have a pink tweed, and it would be amazing to have red on that, but I think what I'll do is I have a red wool, and I'll turn that into a Chanel style jacket and then just put keys all over it and mix them with other beads. So there's not enough to do this design on another tweed jacket, but which is fine. I like that every single jacket I make is incredibly unique. But yes, I really do have to fix those shoulders. But apart from that, this tweed is just, it's such a beautiful, beautiful understated tweed. I love it. Anyway, next jacket is, oh no, are we going with the, yes, we're going with the faux leather. And I actually made this almost completely in July. It took up so much time to make this just because there's so much beading on it. And yeah, it was really good to bead into. So I think when I do go back to buying fabrics and visiting fabric stores, this is me pointing out that there's bits in the black section that I need to add more beads to. Like I've done all the base beading, but I need to go through with seed beads, those small beads, and there's just a few spots that need to be filled in. The white's done, the red's done, but the blacks need a few spots filled in on the front. But the sleeve beading is done, and the back is done as well. But yeah, it's such an amazing jacket. And yeah, working into this, I've got this other faux leather jacket that I've made, but it's a much thicker faux leather. And it's just impossible to bead into, whereas this one was actually quite good to work into. It was still like a little bit tough, but that's kind of good because you know it's going to support the beads and the entire jacket will age really well. So I'm really, really, really happy with the back of this jacket. It just looks amazing, but it's not quite heavy enough because there's so much beading on the front and the sleeves. So I am thinking of doing the gold beading over the shoulders. I'm thinking of doing that around the back of the neck and also the base, just because it needs more weight. There is so much weight on the front. I haven't done it because I like the visual. I like the way it looks at the moment, but I'm not sure. I'll leave it for, I think, once it's been done for 6 weeks. So I'll leave it for a few more weeks. And because the faux leather really needs to settle. It's kind of very rubbery and synthetic. So I'll leave it the way it is for a few more weeks and I'll leave it hanging and then I'll decide. But it's so different from everything else I have ever made. And it's amazing. Technically, it's amazing. And then I made a template. It's just I drafted it myself. I looked at a bunch of different vintage handbags and regular handbags, and I made this. And next I'm going to make a beaded version, and it's going to be an absolute nightmare to sew together, but I think it will look very pretty. So then I've already showed you this jacket, which I realized, and then I was like, okay, this is the first reversible cotton jacket that I made, and it's the other Berta pattern. Here it is, Berta 5870, A is the shorter cropped one with the scallop edge. I just made it straight. I didn't do the scallop, but I also did the sleeve extensions from B. So I wouldn't say the sleeve extensions are necessary. So if you're making it, I would make it without them first and see how you like it. It's quite a nice length. It's bracelet length, so your wrists are out. But I don't mind that, at least for some of my jackets. But yeah, so I love this fabric too, and it's reversible. But I would maybe make it a little longer. I would probably, if I did it again, when I made it, I was like, oh, it's not the Berta 6123, which is kind of what I wanted. And I didn't like it when I made it. But now that I've made the both of them, I actually quite like this one. I do think it's better suited to people with normal size shoulders or bigger size shoulders, whereas I have very, very slight shoulders. And so, yeah, that's sort of making me say maybe not for me still. But I think if you went sort of halfway between the A length, the cropped length, and the B length, which is the longer length, it would be a really good length. I think this is slightly too cropped, but it's still really cute. And personally, I would make the neckline deeper as well. And also, yeah, but it's a nice jacket. I don't like that the back is unfitted, but most people quite like that. So not sure why I'm showing you the gold. Oh, I decided to clear the sideboard, got rid of all those fabrics and the Egyptian tweed. And so I'm just going to show you the 3 unfinished jackets because I did so much work on them. So you can see it's still very much unfinished, but I did do a significant amount of work on it. So I was like, I'm going to show you. Oh, this is my camera. Can't quite decide whether it's a buttery khaki green or a greyish one. It's a really rich buttery khaki olive green. It's absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I do think it looks like a cactus. This poor jacket I could never quite decide on the design for it. First it was going to be a cactus, and well, originally it was going to be inspired by this Chanel couture collection, and then I was like, all right, I could make it like Ice Queen one, and then it was a cactus, and then, but yeah, now it's like I think I'm going to do a map on the back, but I might just do a really big triangle, so I'm not sure. I think I'll do, once I've done the sleeves, I'll have changed my mind 5 times. Oh, and this is the other dress that I made. It's that absolutely adorable McCall's dress. I'll get the pattern. Here it is, M7948, and it's just the best pattern. I really just use the front of the bodice, the back of the bodice, change the neckline a little because it might be a little bit too tight for most people. I just lower it just the tiniest bit at the back and change the sleeves a little to make them a little bit more racer-like on the back. And that was it without a tie, and this is it with a tie. You can do the tie at your natural waist or do a sash at your hips, which is less flattering, but I don't know. I quite like when I wear a skirt around the house, I tend to just, it's like basically just hanging off my hips, and then I pull it up a little bit when I go out. But yeah, I prefer my things sitting lower. Anyway, and these are the last 2 jackets that I am still working on. But as you can see, I did 2 more full rows, and then I did a little bit more on the shoulders and a little bit at the back of the neck as well. When I turn it around, I'll show you. But you can really see what it's going to look like once it's done. And oh my gosh, this jacket is just, it's very Dolce & Gabbana. It's just so completely over the top. And as I said, I like that all my jackets are just astoundingly unique. But this one, now that I've figured out how to do this type of beading, I kind of want to just do another whole one. Because I think if you made each, like if you beaded the sleeves, then hand stitched the sleeve together, then if you beaded the sleeves and beaded the torso, then stitched everything together, it would just be so much easier because and this will be showing you the back of the neckline. See, I've just done the top folded big sequin. I haven't done the base flat one, but it looks the same from far away, but it just means that you can actually fit it on. There's not enough to fit a big flat sequins, but if you do the small folded one, there is. And so, yes, I still have an entire sleeve to go, as well as the back half of that other one that I've started. But it's really taking shape, and you can see what it's going to look like when it's finished. And I think I'm going to do most of it and just leave the difficult bits under the arms and do them last. And this is this one here. The butterfly one, I was thinking of... oh yeah, I just swapped them around so you can see what I'm... So this one, just a reminder, I accidentally beaded over the orange on the front, whereas the rest is all beaded over the blue lines, the aqua blue lines. So, but I was thinking maybe I'll just totally take this side off and re-bead it. But actually, I kind of like it. You know how some people have two different eyes that are two different colors? It'll be like that. I'll do the other side of the front on the orange, on the blue lines, so that it looks slightly more orange and matches the rest of the jacket. But I'm not going to take that other side off and redo it. And these butterflies are just mesmerizing. I love them. I know it would look more interesting and organic if they were just everywhere. And I think with the yellow and pink ones, that's going to be the taxidermy ordered version. And then with the green and blue ones, that's going to be more chaotic, and they're going to look like they're flying, I think, maybe. You know, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some leftover orange ones, so maybe I'll make them sort of fly from the bottom of one hip up to the shoulder on the other side, like with all the leftover ones. So I don't know. Anyway, that is it. That's everything I worked on this month. A couple of dresses, very simple ones, but I just love simple dresses, and very, very, very elaborate jackets that still aren't finished, plus the Affa jackets. And, well, the beading on the keys one is finished. So, yeah, I'm so glad that I finished that. You know, apart from having to unpick the shoulders and completely make the silk lining and hand stitch it in, apart from that, but it's such a beautiful tweed. Anyway, that is it for this episode and this month. It's already September. Can you believe it? Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've been inspired to make some fabulous garments for yourself, and happy sewing. Definitely want to make it a beaded handbag. Definitely want to make a beaded version of that Berta 6123. Love this. Absolutely love it. And it's such a pretty dress. See what I mean about all the green sashes look adorable on it? Anyway, really going now. Happy sewing.